The problem with most men nowadays is that they're mentally soft and they're physically weak. And if you don't want to be like these beta soy boy men that are completely overrun in society, I would listen up. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 unorthodox things that you as a man in your 20s need to master in order to be successful and not live a life of absolute misery. Before we get into it, hit the like and subscribe button. That really helps with the algorithm. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now that I've offended half of you and the other half of you actually decided to stay and learn something, the number one thing that you need to do is learn how to say no. Mainly, I'm talking about drinking. I haven't had a sip of alcohol in over 8 years, and that has been single-handedly the best decision I've ever made in my life. I told myself I am no longer going to be drinking because it didn't make sense for me in the goals that I was chasing. I'm chasing success, happiness, money, things that are actually going to make me better. I want my physical health to be in tip-top shape, and instead of being out at the bars and drinking with your loser high school friends, focus on actually putting and channeling that energy into something that's going to pay dividends. And drinking is not going to get you there. Smoking is not going to get you there. Let me give you a story. I haven't had a sip of alcohol in over 8 years, and there was one moment specifically that changed my life. I was stumbling outside of a bar 8 years ago in Stamford, Connecticut. And I remember walking up to these group of girls to go talk to them, and I obviously had been drinking. Next thing you know, we're talking, and then out of nowhere, I wake up the next morning and my parents tell me that I went to the hospital, I lost my phone, and basically chaos broke out. I don't remember anything. The only thing I remember was drinking that night, talking to those girls, and now I had nothing. And that moment right there changed my life. I don't have an alcohol problem, or at least I didn't think I had an alcohol problem, but the thing is, regardless of that, it just wasn't serving me and where I wanted to go in my life. And ever since that day, I basically told myself, I am no longer going to drink, and I'm going to focus on the things that are going to improve me as a man. Getting in shape, making more money, being better to the people around me, and actually focus on living a holistic lifestyle. If you're out there drinking on the weekends with your buddies, with your high school friends that are still going out to the same bars on the weekend, like, what are you doing? Instead, take that energy, focus that you have on things that are actually going to improve you as a man, instead of going out there drinking, smoking, and participating in vices that are basically just going to bring you 10 steps back instead of 10 steps forward. Number 2, develop a concrete skill set and learn how to manage your money. One of the best things that you can do in your life is get good at one very specific thing. You see, if you take a general doctor and you take a surgeon, for example, that deals with one specific type of surgery, this surgeon is gonna make way more money than the general doctor. And the marketplace operates exactly the same way. The more specific that you can get and the more that you can solve a problem for one specific person or a specific industry, that right there is going to 10x your income than just being a generalist. In your 20s, one of the best things that you can do is explore what it is that you're actually passionate about. For me, I tried many different things. I tried personal training, I tried working a corporate job, and ultimately I found social media marketing, and that to me has been my calling. I've managed social media for Mike Tyson, Brendan Schaub, Steven Crowder, Mark Sanchez, and now I started my own social media agency a year ago and have grown it to multiple 6 figures in the span of 1 year. I couldn't have done this in my late 20s if I didn't spend my early 20s figuring out what is it that I'm actually good at, what is it that I actually like, and what is it that I actually enjoy, and what can I actually monetize at the end of the day. You can make money through drop shipping, TikTok shop, working a job. But the thing is that you just need to figure out what is that skill set that you can monetize and take steps necessary in order to do that. For me, it was starting out working a job, then another job, and then ultimately starting my own business. And that is ultimately the goal that I would recommend for any young man out there to do. And to the second point, what you need to do is track every single dollar that goes out of your account. The reason why is because if you're making $100,000 a year, but your expenses are $98,000, that right there is not freedom. Real wealth is when you're living below your means and you have extra money to save. You have a cushion, you're investing money into different places, but the point is that you're living below your means and you're not overspending to the point where you just become stressed. One of my go-to money saving tips is actually just automating things. I use Acorns that rounds the nearest dollar to invest stocks for me automatically. I use Robinhood to actually pick individual stocks. Obviously, I have a savings account, and if you have a job, you have a 401k. All of these things are going to help you diversify and make sure that you're not overspending your money. You need to be laying the groundwork in your 20s for financial freedom. Number 3, survival skills. My question to you is, if we dropped you anywhere in the world, would you have the skills in order to survive? Let me give you an example. Last year, this time, I was living in a country called Cyprus. It's in the Middle East, but it's basically in Europe. It's right by Syria. But I was living there in order to start Freighter Media, my social media agency that I've grown to multiple six figures. In my first week with my brother in Cyprus, we had no water, no electricity, no Wi-Fi. We had nothing, but we knew we needed to survive. And after coming out of all of that, 6 months later, we built Freighter Media into one of the most premier social media agencies on the planet. We had to learn and develop these survival skills in order to actually thrive in this country that we just got dropped in. I'm talking about being personable, being friendly, right? Learning how to fight and defend yourself. That way you're confident anywhere you walk around. Learning how to cook a meal so that you're not overspending, considering that we didn't have jobs at this time because we were actually building Freighter Media. All of these skills contributed to what you see now, where we built Freighter Media from zero to multiple six figures, and we did that while being in the Middle East, having nothing, and just being dropped into a country and having to figure it all out. Number 4, emotional control. One of the most dangerous things to society is emotional men. And stoic men, on the other hand, are actually the biggest blessing to society because they act independently of their emotion. You see, Stoics also preach this, where they didn't say don't feel emotion. They felt emotions, and they felt it very strongly, just like you and I do, but they act independently of those emotions. One of my favorite tools and tricks for emotional control is guided meditations on YouTube. You can find them. They're 10, 15, 20-minute videos that you can do daily that's going to help lower your cortisol levels, calm down your central nervous system, and allow you to focus on your breathing. That way, when you practice doing that and you're dealt in real life with the stressful situation, you just focus on your breathing and everything will be all good. And number 5, this is the most unorthodox one, but it's one that's extremely important, and that's that you need to master getting comfortable being on camera, like I'm doing right now. It's not enough nowadays to just be good at your job or be good at a high income skill. You need to tell people about it, and you need to be out there building your personal brand. I'm talking about YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You should be on all of these platforms posting content. And there's 2 ways of going about this. Number 1 is by building a business brand. Building a business brand is when you're either talking to your target demographic or you're giving advice to your past 6-month self, where you're saying, hey, these are the things that I wish I learned before I started my business. You're basically giving advice to a person that's looking to get into your industry, but either way, you're creating content. Number 2 is building a personal brand. This is where you're talking about fitness, fashion, the things that you're passionate about. It's gonna be a lot harder to monetize this, but it's gonna be a lot easier to actually gain eyeballs and build a community. Both routes are fantastic, but you just need to figure out which one you wanna go with. Either way, you need to be creating more content than you're actually consuming. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you stayed till the end of this video, I really appreciate it. In this channel, I create content that I wish I knew 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, when it comes to overall self-improvement, being a man and operating in today's society, as well as how to build your personal brand, social media marketing, and operating a content agency that is very, very successful. I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. That really helps with the algorithm, and I'll catch you guys next time.